Good day to you. Good day to you. Oh, my windshield wipers loud. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Mentoring Matters. Today I want to talk to you about generating positive energy to attract the things that you want. Over the course of my life, every time I wanted something so bad, I didn't get it. And it's kind of weird, right? Because it's like, if I want something, I should pursue having it and work hard for it and get it. But that's not what this life's journey has taught me. Every time I just took a neutral position and was happy and content where I was, to an extent, doors opened. That was particularly true in my career. Things just flourished so organically. I was at a university. I was bored with the work, so I applied for some other jobs, not even really reading the job description, if I'm keeping it funky. And one of those jobs was for a college and career instructor, which was an actual teaching position, like full-blown 6 periods a day, whole freshman class, like just a high school teacher position, but it was an elective. And I would have never intentionally applied for that, but I did, just kind of like, I just need to find something else, just putting feelers out there. And I ended up really flourishing at that school. I went from being a teacher there to spearheading some programming there, both after school as well as one of our signature programs, which was, well, I won't say the name of it, but to running internships, to getting into special projects, to becoming a director of culture and engagement. And it wasn't because I was like, it's time to advance my career, it's time for me to get paid more, it's time for me to take on additional responsibility. It kind of organically happened as I showed up in the space as my most organic self. Now, I am naturally driven. I believe in excellence. I want things to be done correctly. I care about my reputation professionally, for sure. So I don't want to say I was being laid back about it, but for me and the content of who I am, I definitely was being a little chill about it. And then at a certain point, someone was like, oh, you should go to school for educational leadership. You should get a master's. I was like, oh, okay. It was just very haphazard. I think that sometimes the go hard culture can start to get intermingled with desperation. And that desperate energy, it never brings forth what we want. I'm going to say it again. The desperate energy, I got to have it. And again, it's counterintuitive because it's like, fight for what you want, climb that mountain. But that energy is not always rewarded. You know what I mean? Like, there are people that have been scuffling and struggling and fighting their whole lives. So now there's a big theme around the soft life. And so I'll take that. I take themes. That's why I said the word energy. That's also a big theme in society currently. Of course, energy exists, but there comes times in society, and this is why I love sociology, that certain themes are elevated. So currently, the law of attraction, energy, manifestation, the soft life, these are all things that are being talked about now more in Western culture than we've ever seen before. These are unprecedented times in terms of our idealism, what we believe to be true in our philosophies. So that's why I'm using that type of terminology. But that, to get to the soft life, it has to be a certain level of relaxation, a certain level of just internal confidence, and then the doors will begin to open. I remember at one point I was looking for a job in Portland, Oregon, and I put in so many applications. I won't even tell you why I was moving out there, because listen, I do some wild stuff sometimes, honey. But then some lady on LinkedIn, and I've been on LinkedIn since I graduated from college. I graduated from college in 2010. I've been on LinkedIn since then. And nobody has ever reached out to me and gave me a job on LinkedIn. It's cool for the networking or whatever. It's a nice little link to be able to send. If you actually are putting information on there about your volunteer experience, if you're actually having people write you recommendations, if you've actually taken the time to fill in your skill sets. A lot of people don't. But if you use LinkedIn to its capacity, the free version, you have a nice little link that's really just like a portfolio link of things that you've done, people that you know, kind of like your life's progress in terms of your career. A lot more information than what would typically be on a resume. So it's no shade to LinkedIn. I like LinkedIn. But I had never heard from anybody, and she found me on there and offered me a job that was perfectly aligned to my skill set, and it was my introduction in some ways into leadership. But the original school I mentioned, I had left to move to Portland, and when I came back, the leadership opportunities were available. But I believe part of the reason they were available was because I had just left a leadership position in another state. But to my point, it wasn't a big, it wasn't a stressful process. It just came to me because I was waking up every day, practicing gratitude, taking care of my business, being diligent. Again, I'm not saying be lazy. I'm saying that approach life from the most authentic version of yourself. Be willing to work for what you want, but keep that energy when you feel yourself just out of breath, clawing towards something. It's time to take a pause. That's not what generates the result that we want. Even in dating, like, I know that we want to settle down, ladies. I am divorced, but I have always kind of been paired off with somebody. And so after that divorce, I believe I went through a period of desperation where I just wanted to hurry up and replace him. I didn't want to sink into the place of being alone for the first time and really get to know myself. And in that desperation, honey, I attracted some horrible situations. I won't call them horrible people, but definitely a couple of horrible situations. And even when they weren't horrible, just distasteful, just undesirable, just not bringing out the best version of me. You know, it just wasn't meant to be. But I was bringing that desperate energy. Once I released that, like, listen, if I gotta ride this road alone, I will do that. The women that live to be centritarians are oftentimes single and been single. You hear me? Like, men do bring a certain amount of stress to your life, you know, no matter what you say. Yes, there are benefits to being with somebody, but once I fell back from where is he, and I was actually dealing with somebody during that time, and I felt like I was just giving so much that he was ungrateful, but because he didn't have to work for it. There's this theory I have, the difference between winning $1 million and earning $1 million. Those who earn $1 million typically never go broke. Those who win $1 million, like the lottery, they go broke, because there's something that a person learns in terms of character development when they're working towards a goal. So when you meet a man or a woman and you are just open-hearted, too much so, and you are giving, you are being generous, you're coming with the gifts, you're coming with the unlimited understanding, there's no accountability, you're just really trying to be this open, loving, low-maintenance partner. Just you are coming in trying to be their safe haven, and they're nurturing from the cold world that they've encountered. The cold world we've all encountered, but you know, you put them in this situation where they've been through more than anybody else, and you're here to rescue them. And in giving all that unlimited comfort and nurturing and not really setting any boundaries or standards for yourself, they come in, they get too comfortable too soon, they don't have an appreciation for you, you get fed up, you're out the door, and then now you repeat the cycle, and they're wondering what happened, you know, or they think you're crazy, like, you know, where did you get these standards from? When did you start getting an attitude? When did you start trying to enforce anything? Because you came in wrong. But the reason you came in wrong was because of that desperation. Yes, I know you're kind-hearted, you're gentle, you're loving, you just attract broken people. You're also desperate. You're also desperate. And you're gonna attract what desperation attracts. Once you are no longer desperate, and you are enjoying your life as a whole person, The right career opportunities will come. The right dating opportunities will come. Now, sometimes it'll be somebody you were seeing, and there's a shift in energy once you get off they nuts, so to speak. And then they'll come around and meet you halfway, and you'll have a more balanced relationship. And sometimes that new beginning has to come with a completely different person, just because the damage is done. You know what I'm saying? The desperate damage, the damage that desperation can cause is sometimes going to be irrefutable. You're going to have to be with somebody completely different and get a fresh start, because this current person is never going to see you like you see yourself. They're always going to see you as desperate, because that's how they met you. So I just want to encourage everybody, even so, and I think I made a video about this also. There, I got sent a link for a possible payout for some damages because of a storm. I filled out the link, didn't think nothing of it. The lady contacted me to say she needed to come see my house. I'm like, I'm busy this day. I got a wedding that day. Like, I was just so low pressure about it. Now, I filled it out. I filled it out truthfully. I provided all the information, documentation. So that's the non-lazy part. I did it, but it wasn't something that oh, please let me get this. No, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. Either way, I'm gonna be straight. And the lady came out. I had on my LSU gear, because that's where I need to stop saying so much, because that's where I got my master's this year, LSU. And the lady was from Louisiana, and she starts talking about Hurricane Katrina and how she had migrated here after that, and how she works with FEMA because of what she went through. And we just bonded, and as a result, she ended up making sure that I was cool with all the paperwork and everything. And 2 days later, I had a nice amount of cash in my bank account from something I wasn't even looking for, because I'm just learning to approach life from a neutral position and giving gratitude for what I have, always expecting the next level of growth, because that's what I expect. I expect growth. I expect professional growth, personal growth, spiritual growth. It's really just growth within a relationship. Anything not growing is dead. So yes, you are approaching life expecting organic growth, but you're not clamoring after anything, clawing your way, dangling. I think the go hard culture will have people like that. You need to take a step back, start doing some yoga if that's what you're into, start meditating, start praying to the God that you believe in. Maybe go to some religious functions. You could go to church, go to the mosque, or like with me, my religious beliefs are personal. And so anything that I do in reference to what I believe on a spiritual level, I like to do alone. I don't really get into organized religion anymore, but there's nothing wrong with that. And I do go to church on occasion when there is a special occasion. But be that as it may, subtract the I just want to encourage you today to walk still open-heartedly, walking in faith, walking in expectation, but being open to the journey as it is right now, respecting yourself, tapping into that soft life and the self-care, and not taking on more than you can handle. And above all, stay away from desperate energy. Even if you have a job you don't like and you're desperately looking for another job, just take the desperate off. You can look for another job. You can set a minimum where you're applying to one job per day. But when it gets to the point where 2 or 3 hours a day you're frantically searching Indeed or LinkedIn, you're clicking the refresh button, you're checking your email, you're checking your spam, you're so disappointed when you don't have an interview request. Again, that's that desperate energy. And it is felt. It is felt. And nobody wants anything desperate. Even when because I'm looking for a different opportunity currently, but even when I respond to an interview request, I'm not responding in 5 minutes. You send me an email inviting me to interview, cool, I will respond by the end of the business day. You told me you had, 4 slots available. I'll take the last slot. I'm not pressed. When I get in that interview, I'm not just like, please, that could be anything you need. I don't have any questions. No, I got some questions. Because I want to make sure that this company is worthy of my talent and my effort as well. It's a two-way street. You're not doing me a favor by giving me a job, because any place that has me on staff is blessed. The honor is all theirs. And I believe that because I know what I'm willing to bring to the table. I know my capacity. I know my creativity. I know my intelligence. I know my level of professionalism and the standard to which I'm bringing to anything that I'm assigned. I know the successes that I have had in the past. I know all of this. So I'm desperate for you to choose me because I'm not completely satisfied with my current role. Okay. The right opportunity will come. And me being desperate is not what's going to populate that. So just whatever area of life this applies to you in, I try to cover the basics: romantic relationships, the personal journey of self, in your career. Those are 3 that people, the opposite sex, your career, and your self-esteem and how you view yourself and approach the world. Those are like 3 big categories. But whatever it is, if you're hoping for a child, and I don't want to get too sensitive, if you are looking to have a baby, you're still not bringing desperate energy to that process. You are remaining neutral, knowing that what's for you is for you, and that's a big one. If you are blessed with a child, hallelujah. If you are not, then you will essentially put that energy into an adopted child. There are so many unwanted children in this world. It's really quite sad. And you'll be surprised how you can love something that didn't even come from your own flesh. Someone who didn't come from your own flesh. And maybe that was part of your journey to find that out. For one of my best friends, her journey was finding out that she did need someone. She was super independent. I don't need no man. I'm not looking for no man. And the man appeared. They're going to have their 10-year wedding anniversary this year. For me, it was the opposite. I got to have a man. I don't really need a career. And I end up losing the man by way of divorce and flourishing more so in my career. But even that is just the life lesson that what I thought I needed, which was to be paired off at all times, is not what this life journey intended for me, for one. And for 2, well, that's the main thing. Sometimes it's not what was intended at all. And sometimes it's what you need to learn before something will be released. But either way, the real message here is to be open to the journey, the highs, the lows. We don't live in a utopic state where everything is perfect all the time. It's not supposed to be. That would make the 80 years that we have on this planet quite boring if everything that we wanted went perfectly every single time. So life is not supposed to be without its challenges, and life is still absolutely blissful. The experience of walking on planet Earth is amazing. That we had time to be here, that we are here now. It will never be this time and date again. We are moving through history. For me, as an elder millennial, when I was born, there were still record players in most houses. And here I am, only 38 years old, and all music exists in a cloud. What is that? And Lord willing, I have 50 years left on this planet. So the blessing of experiencing civilization and society on planet Earth for this dispensation, it'll raise the hairs on my arms. Like, what a blessing it is to be here, to smell this air, to walk this land, to be able to save up a little money and travel this world and be places my ancestors never imagined. have experiences that those. So it's, for one, the joy of being alive, but being alive during the most advanced time for civilization. People who were born 200 years ago did not have the life that we have now. So it's even that, like, I'm alive, and I'm alive right now. That's amazing. I'm grateful. And in that gratitude, I will continue to attract, accomplish, experience, and achieve everything that I should. I don't have to panic. I don't have to be desperate. I don't have to beat myself down with anxiety. I just gotta keep living, baby. That's what my grandmother say. Just keep living, baby. And that's what we gonna do. All right now. Have an amazing day. Mentoring Matters.